Good day and welcome. My name is Lyle Watson and welcome to NAC TV's Coffee Chat. Today we're pleased to have as our guest the chairperson of the local Roxy Theatre, Jackman-Atkinson, and we're looking forward to having a little chat with her about the Roxy Theatre and the challenges she's faced in running the operation this year and all those interesting things that go along with community service by Kate and her board and all the volunteers that work with the Roxy. Kate, welcome to NAC TV Coffee Chat.
Thank you for having me.
And we look forward to just learning a little more of what's happening over at the Roxy. I know there's lots of things happening, but maybe if we could just start with the history a little bit of the Roxy and how it fit into our community.
Yes, certainly. So the Roxy Theatre, as it stands today, was built in 1906. That building did replace a previous opera house that burned. But the building that you see now when you drive down Hamilton Street was built in 1906. In 1940, it was renovated to its current style. So if you saw pictures of it from 1940 and 1941, it would look pretty well like it does today. Interestingly, if you see the pictures from before, it looked quite different. And then from 1940 until like 1988, it went through a series of owners, ran as a opera house and a movie theater. And then in 1988, a group of local individuals formed a not-for-profit organization called the Nipawin Theatre Centre, Inc., with the express purpose of purchasing the theater and operating it for the community. And so our organization has done that ever since.
Since 1988?
Yeah.
And going back to the original start of it, there was a well-known family that was involved with it.
Yes, actually, that major renovation in 1940, it was undertaken by the Asper family when they owned it.
Yes.
So, yeah, so a little bit of a tie to some prominent Manitobans there.
Interesting, yeah. Now, you're non-profit organization now, so you will look to the community for funding aside from your events that you sponsor throughout the year. How does the community, or how can the community stay involved in terms of supporting the Roxy Theatre?
Yeah, certainly. So there are a lot of ways that the community can support the theatre. In a normal non-COVID year, our day-to-day operations are covered by admission to movies, concession purchases, and private rentals. So what a lot of people maybe don't know is that in addition to hosting movies, people can rent the theater. So you could rent the theater, to hold a birthday party. People can connect their gaming systems to the big screen and play on that. We have full online capabilities, so you can do streaming conferences there. We've had weddings there. We've had you've been involved in auctions held there. Mm-hmm. So there's really no end of ways in which the facility can be used on a regular basis. Obviously, we're a registered not-for-profit, so people can make charitable donations and receive a tax receipt to support the theatre. And another great way that people can support the theatre is volunteering to actually run the movies. So what's unique about the Roxy is that we are volunteer-run. So it's all volunteers who sell you your movie tickets, make your popcorn, clean up after the show. So that's another really important way that the community can support the theatre.
How many people do you have serving on your board?
Our board has 12 people on it.
12 people?
Yeah.
All volunteers?
Yeah, all volunteers, yeah. Our caretaker is paid and the projectionists, they get paid as well. But apart from that, the entire operation is volunteer run.
So something for the community to be able to come together and work like that. But the Roxy Theatre is a very, very important addition, or to maintain it within our community. And you've done, you and your board and the volunteers have done a great job. Can you just bring us up to date on some of the changes we've seen over the last few years and where we're going in the future with it?
Certainly, and I think every board has done a phenomenal job of setting the theatre up to continue to meet the community's needs. So about 10 years ago, reel films were being discontinued. It would be, you could no longer get films on reels, and the board of that era undertook a major capital project, so about $100,000 to fully convert to digital. And that move allowed the theatre to continue to play movies, which is the major source of revenue for the theatre and continues to be to this day, except for in COVID. And from there, they did roof repairs, they did boiler repairs. My involvement in with the theater board over the last 4 years. We undertook a major brick repointing project, which saw us repair degraded brickwork in the basement on the exterior of the building, as well as some work in the back alley to ensure that the water flowed away from the building and help protect all that work we'd previously done. We've done some technological upgrades, which have made our movies more accessible to those with visual and hearing impairments. And of course, this year we undertook our facade renewal project, which restored the theater to kind of the glory from that 1940 renovation. The theater really doesn't look that different. We kept the same paint colors and kind of the same signage, but that fresh coat of paint and, repairing, some damage to the marquee, making sure all the lights work, it sure looks different now.
And it has made a big difference, not only to the building, but the whole appearance on the street.
Yeah. Last night, the work was finally completed. The fencing around the theater came down, and I know one of our board members, Jeff Braun, who's the facilities chair, he flipped those lights on and took some pictures, and it looked pretty great.
It does. It's a real nice addition to that street and to our community.
Yeah.
Structurally wise, you've done some basic work on the building. Mm-hmm. Is it good for another 100 years?
I hope so. That brickwork project, the brickwork on the west side of the building was especially degraded because the building beside it, the water would flow off of it and then kind of down that brickwork and just eroded all the mortar between the bricks. So we had a major project to fix that and ensure that the water flowed away from the building. And so that was the part of the building that was in the worst shape, and we fixed it up, so hopefully it's ready to meet the next century.
And as long as you have support from the community, volunteers, and we can't forget the business section.
Yes.
Could it run for another 100 years?
I sure hope so. Yeah, I sure hope that it could. I know certainly it's a really rewarding organization to be a part of because, whenever we need help with something, the community always steps up very generously with both time and dollars. And like every not-for-profit knows, you need both of those to keep going.
Yes. And in terms of the year that 2020 has been a challenge for everybody, how has it really challenged the Roxy?
Well, we last showed a movie on March 9th, I believe. It might have been March 3rd, but it was early March was the last time that we showed a movie in the Roxy. And of course, when everything shut down, we shut down as well. When in the middle of summer, when theaters were allowed to reopen, we as a board seriously looked at it. But given that we are volunteer run, we were very concerned about whether our volunteers would be comfortable with working in these, in these situations, whether they would, the challenges with having, people calling in sick, and what would our additional requirements be to keep to keep our movie staffed, as well as the added work that the volunteers would have to do in terms of the cleaning and sanitizing. And so we thought that we would open for private rentals and just kind of wait and see, because as well, bringing in a movie is quite expensive. A lot of people don't realize all of the fixed costs that you have associated with it. We have to pay studio fees, and we have to get the hard drive that the movies are on here, and all of these costs, no matter how many people show up, we have to pay them. And they can be quite expensive. It can be about $1,000 a show. So we thought we would just sit tight, open for private rentals. We had a couple, and then we went into the orange, and so we thought it was best to step back again. And then we were just preparing to have a few more things going on in the theater, and then we've gone back into orange and have decided that it would probably be best just to step back for the time being. So we are trying to operate in a bit of a different capacity in as much as we can, given the current situation.
Without the community support, the sponsorships, the grants that you receive from Beautiful Plains Community Foundation, federal and provincial governments, I presume, probably help you with some grants. Could the Roxy function without those grants?
On a normal year, we don't rely on grants to cover our day-to-day operations. So on a normal year, we wouldn't get any of those bigger capital projects done without added money, but we would carry on operations. This year, because we've been closed for so long, all of our grant money has been tied to specific projects, but we're really going to have to look at what other sources of funding or ways of operation are available to us, to make sure that we can, keep our building heated so that it doesn't freeze, and keep those new lights on.
Yes.
So,
But
yeah.
with the age of the building, there is no end. You have to do so much
Yes.
every year, don't
Yeah,
you,
yeah, you do. Yeah.
to keep it up?
I think that I'm hoping that we're in a good space now because, boards have kept investing in the theater. So hopefully if we have a couple of years where we maybe don't put as much in, that groundwork has been there. We have a new roof within the last 10 years. We have a new boiler within the last 10 years. We have all our brickwork done. So a lot of those areas that do fail after a certain amount of time have been well taken care of. So I'm hoping that we can have a little bit of a quieter year, and it might be okay.
If this COVID extends over, we're talking into 2021 now, will you be able to keep out of a deficit situation, do you think?
We will have to. We'll have to change the way we operate. A heavier reliance on private rentals, which I think is probably how the community would probably like to do movies or entertainment like that, just with their own, family or group of people. We definitely, it will look different for sure.
Could you give us a kind of a ballpark figure as to what it might cost a family to host a birthday
Yes,
party,
certainly.
for example? There?
So we rent we rent hourly or by the day, and we have just changed our rates at our AGM, and I believe that it's $80 for the first hour and $55 for each additional hour.
That's reasonable.
It's quite reasonable,
That's
yeah.
reasonable.
And we sell concession at just regular rates. So right now we don't have a lot in concession because a number of the items were nearing expiry in the summer, and so we just sold them. We kind of just got rid of them. But it's people are surprised at how reasonable it is.
What are some of the other uses that the community can use it for, other than birthday parties or that, but to rent a space for other uses?
Yeah,
Have you got any suggestions?
Oh, yeah. We have 347 seats, so we've got quite a large capacity. I know that we have had some community groups contact us about, hosting events, because at the 30% capacity, or, if we're not in an orange and we're at, say, a 50-person gathering size, there's enough space that people can properly spread out. So, obviously the Roxy hosts school plays and performances. We've hosted big community meetings. I know there have been a few large community meetings that have been held at the Roxy. We've hosted auctions. We've hosted concerts. So, really, anything that you need, a place for people to sit and maybe a stage for someone to stand on, we can do that. Weddings, yeah, we've done some weddings, which are always pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So looking down the road a little bit, what's coming up in the 2021 that you could share with our viewers, or is there anything definite at this point?
Do you know what? It's all up in the air. I think, like so many organizations, it's all up in the air. I would hope that 2021 holds movies at the Roxy.
Yeah. What about the Kaleidoscope Concert Series? Where are we at with that?
So that's an organization that rents the Roxy to do their performances. The last I had heard, they have canceled everything for 2020, but are at this point planning to go ahead with their 2021 shows. Obviously, I'm sure they'll be evaluating as the time progresses.
But they're quite well attended on
an
annual basis.
They are very well attended, yeah. And that's another way that the Roxy partners with other organizations within the community. We provide a venue that allows other organizations to do things, whether it's Kaleidoscope Concerts or, we've had a number of fundraising auctions there. Yeah.
Could you share with us your thoughts on the importance and the impact on our community that the Roxy Theatre has?
Certainly. The Roxy Theatre was initially established to provide entertainment options for the community's youth. And I think that that's something that in our core operations we have really tried to carry forward with us, whether we're talking about family movies that are available to watch quite inexpensively, when you compare to other theaters. Whether you're talking about an opportunity for kids to stand on the stage, whether it's HMK kids for the operetta or high school kids for a major production. And I think that it's almost impossible to grow up in the Nipawin area without having memories of the Roxy in whatever capacity, whether it's watching movies or being on the stage. I think that it's a really integral part of growing up in Nipawin, and I think that that's one of the reasons why we want to keep it going.
And sometimes we tend to take some of these services in a facility like the Roxy. We kind of take it for granted sometimes, but really we shouldn't.
Yeah. No.
We have to be reaching out and
it doesn't carry on without the support of our volunteers. Without the support of the community, the theater doesn't exist.
And I think that's a big part of the success of most facilities and organizations in the town. It's the community working together. With this COVID outbreak, we've seen the community kind of coming together somewhat, have we not?
Yeah, I think that we have.
And there might even be some good come out of it
I think that we need to try and find what good can come out of it.
Yes, and I think with a person like yourself as chairperson and a good volunteer board, that you will find some good to come out of it.
Yeah, I think that we're really fortunate. We have a really fantastic board, and that's not to say that previous boards have not been really fantastic, but I think that the organization has been really lucky to have had really great people on the board over the years.
And just on the positive side of that, your board too is of the younger generation. Like a lot of times we as the older generation say the young people aren't involved.
Yeah.
But in your case, it's a prime example.
Yeah, we certainly have a board that is full of not youth, but certainly younger people. So it's
compared to a lot of service organizations and things, you're probably on the younger side. Yeah.
So.
Well, that's encouraging to see the younger members of our community getting involved.
And certainly younger members of the community are very involved in volunteering at the theater. Lots of families volunteer. I think that it's a really popular place for families to volunteer as well.
And that's an important aspect to offer that opportunity too for families to work. And we all can learn from that too.
Exactly.
So it's a real learning process having the Roxy Theatre in town, and we hope that continues. Kate, our time is kind of running out on us a little bit, and I would like you to share with us a final thought for our viewers, if you could, regarding the Roxy and where we've been and where we're going.
Yeah, I guess all I could really say is that I would really like to thank the community for their support of the theater over the years and into the future, because without the community, the theater wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
And I guess we look forward to meeting the community's needs for the next century.
Well, I think that's a lofty goal, but I think it's a doable goal.
I think it's attainable too.
And all we can do is hope and pray that that's the case.
Yeah.
But we take this opportunity on behalf of our community and the viewers of NAC TV to express our appreciation to you and your board, Kate, and all the volunteers and people, businesses and private donations, sponsorships that come into helping the Roxy continue. And we appreciate your time today, and we wish you a speedy recovery from this challenging time, and that the Roxy can get those doors open and to show off that nice new mark.
Exactly. At least people can see it from the outside.
That's there. And if you haven't seen it, take a drive past and on Hamilton Street and have a look at the new work that's just been completed. Well, until next time, my name is Lyle Watson. We thank you for watching, and have a good day, stay healthy, and stay happy.